what to see, what to stream, and what to skip. It's Movie Reviews with Ryan J.
Due to the impeachment hearings the last couple weeks, right? I was preempted on the Morning Blend this morning, so I thought it would be fun to set up shop at home and invite one of my best friends over who saw both of the new movies opening in theaters today to chat about them instead of just monologuing like so many great people do on YouTube and on social media, but I have not mastered that art yet. I need to have a conversation. So please welcome Katharine Gails to the program.
Hello.
Canned laughter and applause, if I can find that. Anyway, I'm just so glad that you can join me, and we're one of my rare friends who actually has some daytime availability to come and talk.
Part-time jobs, yeah.
Right?
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being havid. Let's talk about Frozen 2. That's why we have our Elsa and Anna's with us today. Right? There we go. Don't get hurt.
Awkward.
Don't get hurt. And I'm also wearing my Olaf.
Oh, see,
hoodie,
I'm missing. I need one of those.
You do need one. I just ironed on because, I should do a how-to video, right? Because I probably get more views from that from actually movie reviews.
Yeah, like that's exactly what I need to learn to do.
How to iron on a patch.
Yes.
No one knows how to do it. I may be the only gay who knows.
Girl Scouts.
Oh, well, that's what, I remember. That's where I learned. No, I wish. Anyway, so Frozen 2, what's interesting about it is 6 years after the original, and it's the first ever theatrically released Disney princess sequel. So, there were a lot of Disney princess sequels that Disney released direct to DVD and that sort of thing, but this is the first one that ever got like a big release, and I loved it.
Yeah, it was amazing. I think the music in the first one was so iconic that I wanted that again, and I was missing that a little bit. Everything about it was amazing.
Amazing. I mean, how do you repeat Let It Go?
You don't.
First of all, you don't even know while creating a song like Let It Go that it's going to become Let It Go. Even though Elsa does have two amazing power ballads in Frozen 2, you just never know if any will reach that sort of unbelievable mega hit status that Let It Go did. I think it's really fun to return to Arendelle and get back together with Anna and Elsa and Olaf.
Oh, he was precious. He was probably the best. I loved him. He was my favorite for sure.
Super funny. Josh Gad, super funny in the first one, and then even in this one too. And what I do love about, even though the songs aren't as catchy as the original, they are still really great. But like the rest of the film in terms of story and tone, it's much more mature.
Yes,
the characters look a little bit more grown up. Olaf is singing about being a grown up.
Yeah.
And the story, but it's kind of like we compared to Harry Potter, where we grew up with those actors and throughout those films and that story. The audience is more mature now over the last 6 years from Frozen 1, so it's really cool to go a little bit darker and more mature. I think it's going to surprise some people.
Yeah, and I thought from the trailers that it was going to be much darker than it actually was. Like, I thought it was going to be kind of scary for kids, but it just wasn't. And I liked that a little bit about it, that it was Elsa was finally coming out of her shell and becoming Elsa, which was really cool.
I don't know that it's going to go to a Broadway adaptation the way the first Frozen did.
No,
that's playing there, but it's still really, really great. I think it's a great second act for Frozen. I hope that they could maybe make it a trilogy or more. I guess we'll see how it does at the box office. It's projected to make over 100 million here this weekend. So that should be great. Also, I compared this movie a little bit to Inside Out in the sense that Disney is getting really wise to the fact that their classics are films that people rewatch over generations. So you grow up with these movies and keep rewatching them, but then also share them with your children and grandchildren. So they, with Inside Out, when we watched that film, and all the adults in the audience were like, "Wow, Disney going for a movie about depression.
Yep.
How bold, right?" But the kids were just like, "Oh, emotions and color and that sort of thing." But then as they age and rewatch it, they'll get those other meanings and themes. Frozen 2, I think, is like that. As adults, we all got what was going on with Anna in that film without saying any spoilers, But I think the kids are just going to be like, "Oh, it's Princess Anna and she's sad at this moment," or whatever, and So, did you find that kind of interesting appeal to all ages?
Yeah, because even Olaf's jokes got more mature. What he was joking about was more mature. Even the kids would laugh because he's Olaf, so he says it in a funny way. But even the way that he was growing up and maturing, and his jokes got more mature, and they did funny. I think they were trying to make fun of themselves a little bit too with the Kristoff music
Yes,
video.
Totally.
I don't want to give away
love
spoilers,
that. Christoph gets a great song because Jonathan
yeah.
Groff is phenomenal. I mean, he comes from Broadway like Idina Menzel, and he's got an amazing singing voice. So I'm so glad, since we haven't really seen him do a movie musical yet, that Christoph got a really great song.
It was amazing.
In this one,
It's actually really catchy. My husband was singing it the other day.
Was he?
Yeah.
Her husband, who has a great name, Ryan. I'm a big fan of his.
That's why we're best friends.
So if we had to give this one a rating, I think we agree for this one.
Mm-hmm.
It's a see it.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah.
You have to see it.
I want to see it
if
again.
You've seen the first one.
Oh, for sure.
And I recommend watching the first one right before going to see the second one. That's what we did. And it just makes it so much more like
fresh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The other new movie opening this weekend is A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, which is a biopic of Mr. Rogers that's actually more of a family drama. And the reason I'm air quoting biopic is because it's really not about Fred Rogers. It uses Mr. Rogers' neighborhood program as a story device to tell the story of this journalist who published a 1998 cover story for Esquire magazine about Mr. Rogers.
Yeah. Yeah, it seemed like Mr. Rogers was a side note a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
They used him for sure, and there were some really cool things about his neighborhood, the way they transitioned. It was very much the same way as Mr. Rogers did in his show, but the whole story was about a different guy.
So Tom Hanks, of course, plays Mr. Rogers, and we sat next to each other during this movie, and as soon as it started, you and I kind of were looking at each other, thinking like, oh dear.
This is really creepy.
We were creeped out by it.
Oh, definitely. I think it takes a while to get used to Mr. Rogers.
Tom Hanks as Mr. Rogers.
Yes, it was like it was too weird.
It almost was like Tom Hanks was doing a Saturday Night Live sketch of Mr. Rogers' neighborhood.
That's exactly what it felt like.
Until you really buy into it, and the suspension of disbelief kicks in, and there was that.
It was the wrong voice, and then you're like, he's dressed and looks the same, but he's not Mr. Rogers.
Looks the same, but it's the hair. Like, I don't know if they did any prosthetic work or not. I haven't researched that, but I felt like I was looking at Tom Hanks with a Mr. Rogers wig, basically.
Yeah, and his iconic red cardigan.
Exactly. It is hard to criticize Tom Hanks, though, because I do love him, and I do love everything he does, and that creepiness or the awkwardness kind of wears off pretty quickly, and then, like, within 5 minutes, you're subscribed to the fact that
you buy into it right away. But that first whole scene, it opens with him, and you're like, this is kind of creepy.
Right. We had a similar expectation as to what most people would have going into this film because we watched that documentary last year, Won't You Be My Neighbor, which was so inspiring and so beautiful. And we all kind of were pumped up walking out of that.
Oh, yeah.
And walking out of A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, how did you feel?
Sad. And I wouldn't see it again. And with the documentary, I would watch it again and again.
Right.
But this one, it wasn't. It just felt depressing almost.
It is depressing and it is sad. Even though there's growth in these characters and this story, it is kind of slow at times. I was a little bored during it. Yeah. And because of that, I'd say my rating for this one is to stream it.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
I agree. Yeah. I wouldn't pay money to go see it. I think there's really good parts in it. Like, I think the the transformation towards the end, and I think there was some really good talking about your feelings and owning your anger even as an adult was really helpful and really good.
I do think it is really pretty and really beautiful that they illustrate that even though Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood program was for children, the lessons and the life lessons and the sentiment of what he was imparting can be effective to humans at any age. Yeah. Because there are humans that, there are adults that still need to learn or relearn some lessons that they might not have in childhood that can apply. And that was not hitting you over the head with that message in this film, but that certainly is there, and I think really strong. And so that's really great. But I just feel like, right now in theaters we have Ford v Ferrari, we have Last Christmas and Harriet and Frozen 2, and I don't think I would recommend A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood to anyone above those films.
Oh no.
So
see Frozen.
Yeah, see Frozen 2 for sure. And then I think you can wait to stream It's a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, or just A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. Well, let's wrap it up. I guess that's it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate this.
This was very fun.
This was fun, and I appreciate you co-reviewing with me because I just don't feel comfortable yet really just monologuing. I don't know. People do it and they're brilliant really at it. I don't know. But I haven't yet found my cojones for that one. But in the meantime, next week I will be back on the Morning Blend on Wednesday because the new movie is open for Thanksgiving week on Wednesday. And then I will hopefully, have you back again and be able to do this kind of thing for online exclusive reviews. Thank you again. Love you so much.
Love you too.
Love you guys too. Thanks for watching.